Hello, good morning. Good morning, everyone. I'll wait here for a minute or two. It's a little before 8. Good morning, Melissa. Yay. Hello. Will I see you on Friday, Melissa? Question mark. Question mark, question mark. Let me wait here for just another second. Um, Today, well, it's 8 o'clock, so we can get started here. Um, we are in Exodus, as you know, and today we are in Exodus 17. Yesterday we were talking a lot about manna that the Lord provided. Okay, good to know, Melissa. And I was just reading yesterday and today about what was going on after the manna was provided, after um, the Lord let them hit the rock for water, and then they um, got this supernatural bread starting to drop from heaven. So he's providing for them as they're headed out of their bondage. And it's so good to remember that the Lord wants to give us what we need while we're coming out of our pinned in, hemmed in places and cruel bondage that they were in. Hi, Barbara. Good morning, everyone. And so today in chapter 17, um, there's kind of a scuffle that rises up, and they're being opposed in their journey. And it's so important for us to see that opposition will come when we're journeying out. Good morning, Gail. And so when we're journeying out, it's not should not be a surprise to us that our foes will come against us to not only war against us, just to harass us as we're getting free. This is what is happening to the Israelites. So let's start in chapter 17 here. And it says, all the congregation of the Israelites moved on from the wilderness of Sin by stages, according to the commandment of the Lord, and encamped at Rephidim, and there was no water for the people to drink. Therefore the people contended with Moses, and they said, give us water that we may drink. And Moses said to them, why do you tempt the Lord and try his patience? You gotta love Moses. And the people thirsted there for water, and but the people thirsted there for water, and the people were murmuring against Moses, and they said, why did you bring us out of Egypt? To kill us and our children and our livestock with thirst? Oh my goodness. Sort of it sort of struck me funny when I read this because they're so dramatic. And they're just afraid that they're all going to die, of course. And I'm sure it was very bleak and difficult. So Moses cried to the Lord, what shall I do with these people? They're almost ready to stone me. I thought about Stephen, that he was stoned in the New Testament, and he's the man that when we met together for a Zoom call and we read in um, Acts 7 the recount of all of this, he's the person that was recounting it. And then here Moses himself is afraid he will be stoned. Um, did any of you get to watch the video about the manna? And what is it? That was posted yesterday for you to watch on my timeline in case you wanted some more understanding. I thought it was really good. Okay, and then verse 5. And the Lord said to Moses, pass on before the people and take with you some of the elders of Israel, and take in your hand the rod with which you smote the river Nile, and go. Behold, I will stand before you there on the rock at Mount Horeb, and you shall strike the rock. Water shall come out of it, that the people may drink. Moses did so in the sight of the elders of Israel. Let's read quickly here in 1 Corinthians 10. Um, verses 1 through 4 is just a recount of this in the New Testament, and it's beautiful. It says, Paul says, for I do not want you to be ignorant, brethren, that our forefathers were every one of them under and protected by the cloud in which God's presence went before them, and every one of them passed safely through the Red Sea, and every one of them allowed himself to be baptized into Moses in the cloud and in the sea. That is, they were thus brought under obligation to the law, to Moses, and to the covenant, consecrated and set apart to the service of God. Verse 3, and all of them ate the same spiritual, supernaturally given food. That was the manna. Verse 4, and they all drank the same supernaturally given drink, for they drank from a spiritual rock which followed them, produced by the sole power of God Himself, without natural instrumentality. And that rock was Christ. So this is Paul saying that the water, the living water that was following them through the wilderness was Christ Himself. We'll just stop there because it keeps going, but I just wanted to read that part because he says, behold, I will stand before you at the rock at Mount Horeb, and you shall strike the rock, and water shall come out of it, and that the people may drink. And Moses did so in the sight of the elders of Israel. We're back in Exodus 17. He called that place, verse 7, Massa, which means proof, and Meribah, which means contention, because of the fault finding of the Israelites, and because they tempted and tried the patience of the Lord, saying, is the Lord among us or not? Wow. Is He here or not, Moses? Did He tell you to bring us out here, Moses? Or did you just decide that you needed to drag us all out here? So that's why the Lord's patience was growing thin, because of what they were saying and what they were insinuating. It's really such a defiance against the character of Moses and how he was so tried by the Lord. He was so tested by Him, and he was really faithful to God's telling what God told him to do, to work all of these wonders and miracles in the earth at that time. Can you imagine how he had to be obedient to the Lord? Um, good morning. I'm looking over here and I'm seeing Michelle. Good morning. And yes, fear of dying reminds me of the current time. Yes. And Gail, you said you watched the video. That's awesome. All right, so here, yes, Christ. I think you're saying wow to the Christ being the one following them supernaturally. I know it's kind of cool, huh? So they're trying the patience of the Lord. They're asking, did He tell you to have us really do all this? And guys, I mean, come on. Everything that's happened right before their eyes, the way they're being sustained. And sometimes we forget how harsh the bondage was that we were in, and leaving it, and leaving that old lifestyle. Um, we just get tempted to think really goofy things along the way. And so the Israelites are demonstrating that for us. And then, so I don't know if this might be why. I kind of tried to research why the Amaleks, Amalek, Amalekites, why they rose up against the Israelites, but they became the first people after the Egyptians to harass and fight against the Israelites as they were journeying out. And so they come upon the scene. It's actually the grandson of Esau that has his people with him. You can imagine that. Remember when Jacob and Esau met again, and Jacob was fearful that Esau would destroy him as he was coming with Leah and Rachel and all of his family, and Leah, Esau embraced him and was so glad to see him. But this is his grandson, Amalek, and he's got some kind of grievance. I tried to figure that out too, but I didn't have the time that I needed to to see why he would come against, or why his people would come against the Israelites. It might have just been for the land. I'm not sure if he was jealous. Um, I don't know, but here he comes in verse 8, and he fought with Israel at Rephidim. And Moses said to Joshua, choose us out men and go out and fight with Amalek. Tomorrow I will stand on the top of the hill with the rod of God in my hand. So Joshua did as Moses said and fought with Amalek, and Moses and Aaron and Hur went up to the hilltop. And when Moses held up his hand, Israel would prevail. But when he lowered his hand, Amalek prevailed. So he'd hold up the rod and he'd just keep holding it, and the battle would ensue and the Israelites would prevail. And then he might take a rest or might be tired, put his arm down, and the battle would switch. And the Amalekites were starting to prevail. So in verse 12, isn't this such a beautiful picture? But Moses' hands were heavy and grew weary. So the other men took a stone and put it under him, and he sat on it. Then Aaron and Hur held up his hands, one on one side and one on the other side, so his hands were steady until the going down of the sun. Until the going down of the sun, may we step up beside our brothers and sisters and hold up their hands, giving them some way to get comfortable as they do the work of God, some way to ease their weariness. May we lend them our strength. I love this picture. Someone actually even sent this verse to me in a prayer yesterday, not knowing that we were here in this chapter today, that they were holding up my arms. And I so appreciate this dear friend. And Joshua mowed down and disabled Amalek and his people with the sword. He mowed them down. That's in the Bible. That's the funniest version ever. And disabled Amalek and his people with the sword. And the Lord said to Moses, write this for a memorial in the book. Rehearse it in the ears of Joshua, that I will utterly blot out the remembrance of Amalek from under the heavens. 1 Samuel 15. Go there, and we'll see what he's talking about. He's going to utterly blot them out. So 1 Samuel 15, verse 2, this is what God says about Amalek. Thus says the Lord of hosts, I've considered and will punish what Amalek did to Israel, how he set himself against him in the way when Israel came out of Egypt. Now, Go, smite Amalek, and utterly destroy all that they have. Do not spare them. They kill both man and woman, infant and suckling, ox and sheep, camel and donkey. So Saul assembled the men and numbered them at Telem, 200,000 men on foot and 10,000 men of Judah. And Saul came to the city of Amalek and laid wait in the valley. Saul warned the Kenites, Go, depart, get down from among the Amalekites, lest I destroy you with them, for you showed kindness to all the Israelites when they came up out of Egypt. So the Kenites departed from among the Amalekites. So the Kenites were saved because they showed kindness to the Israelites, but the Amalekites, unfortunately, came up against God's people and then they were destroyed. Saul smote the Amalekites from Havilah as far as Shur, that is east of Egypt, and he took Agag, the king of Amalekites, alive, though he utterly destroyed all the rest of the people with the sword. Okay, we'll just let that be right there. I just wanted you to know what the outcome was, and that was 1 Samuel 15, 2 through 8. And Moses built an altar and called the name of it, The Lord is my banner. The Lord is my banner. Who is our banner? The Lord. He's our banner. And he said, Because theirs is a hand against the throne of the Lord will have war with Amalek from generation to generation. So that is, let me ask question here. Just 1 second. You can type in your comments right now if you have something and I'll look at it. Um, so, okay. I was thinking I could maybe find out where the Amalek people lived today. It looks like they were nomads. Um, but I can look at that later. Let me see what you guys are writing over here. Great picture of lifting one another up and carrying each other's burdens. Yes, thank you. Yeah, right. So that's the whole of chapter 17 today. And I think if you have not been on with us, I would really encourage you to catch up. Yeah, catch up with us. There's been some really important chapters before 17. How are you doing, everyone? We're done a little bit early today. How are you guys doing? So I think we have Melissa and Michelle on, my sister Gail, and Barbara. So good. All of you attempted or were on with us on the Zoom call last couple weeks ago. Barbara, you wrote, after 400 plus years, I imagine the Amaleks had forgotten their lineage. That's a good point. Didn't remember where they came from, right? Um, so it's Tuesday, and let me just tell you about the rest of the week. So, um, this is the plan for the study for the rest of this week. Tomorrow I'll be back on at 8. I'm 90% sure I'll be on at 8. And then that's Wednesday. And Thursday is the day that I leave for a couple days with my kids for a little quick trip to the ocean. So if you will watch, I'll decide Thursday if I can do the study I probably will do it just to touch base with you guys, but it might be earlier than 8. I'm not sure yet. 'Cause I'd like to leave the house around that time. And then, let's see, Friday, um, instead of meeting at 8, we'll meet at 10 at Prayer Mountain in Scotts Valley. And if I can put a portion of that on, I will message you guys in the Facebook Messenger and tell you to watch for our broadcast from there. And there will be hopefully a handful of us there. And we can show you the beauty and we can maybe pray or something. And then Saturday, I will come back on at probably 8 o'clock, depending on how things are going for the study. And Sunday, I will probably take the day off, and that's Sunday afternoon is when we drive home. So, um, any other comments? Yes. So I love you guys. Hope you have a good day, and we'll be in chapter 18 tomorrow. And chapter 18 in Exodus brings in Jethro, Moses' father-in-law. Yeah, some things, concerning him and some other stuff. All right, well, God bless you. Let's see if there's any more comments. Looking forward to seeing some of you Friday. All righty. Bye, everyone.